Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I am Tony Gerdeman, here as always with Tom Orr. Tom, how's it going?
You sound dejected there, as if you feel like you've lost last week's bold predictions, which you didn't. But I know it's a really weird feeling for you to have not lost last week's bold predictions, so I know why sort of reflexively you did that. I'm doing that personally this week. I was glad I was able to let you win one. I'm doing that this week because I'm already dreading. We talked about this at the end of yesterday's show. You cannot make bold predictions for a game involving the Iowa Hawkeyes because it's just, they defy every piece of logic and reason that there is. And it's impossible to make actually bold predictions that have any chance of happening. So can't wait. Excited. Let's get going.
What a great sell job, Tom. I just hope you're doing okay. I mean, this is 2 weeks in a row you have not won. So
are you counting the fact that we didn't do a show last week and that's why?
Is it a week?
Is it a week? Yes, congratulations on having the Michigan winning streak against Ohio State. Yeah, that's did you? Yes. Tony also had a bunch of COVID cases last week, and so we didn't do a show. So
how dare you turn this on me? How dare you turn one of my favorite things on me, Tom? That's uncalled for. But before we get to our bold predictions for this week, we should recap what happened last week. As always, we invite the posters at Buckeye Huddle on the Huddle message board to give their own bold predictions, which they did. Unfortunately, they were a collective 0 for 17. So, Tom, we did much better than that. You did much better than that. I did much, much better than that. Go ahead and share with the people quickly so that I have my time how you did.
I'll just hit my three that I got correct. And yes, three is pretty good. Three points will win you most weeks. It did not win against Michigan State. It did not win the Michigan State week, but G. Scott did have a touchdown. Ohio State had 2 receivers and 1 rusher with 100 yards. And that was even with 1 34-yard run or catch negated. And 6 different Buckeyes participated in touchdowns. So yes, I hit 3, and 3 is pretty good. And I hauntingly almost hit my 2-pointer, which is they would have a combination of 3 plays totaling between 57 and 60 yards. And I could have hit 54, I could have hit 55, and I could have hit 63, but I did not hit between 57 and 60, much to my chagrin.
Yeah, I was doing the math on that back after the game up in the press box, and I was just laughing because I could find no combination, but it was getting so close. And it's like there's so many touchdowns you figure, but no, sadly, no. Mine that I got, but Tom, wouldn't you have been like terrified or just devastated to have scored 5 points and still lost?
Yeah, that would have been rough because, 5 points. 3 points wins you most weeks. 5 points wins you. This would probably have been the first time ever that 5 points didn't win a week. But, five points is, it's like Mickey Mantle hitting, 56 home runs or 54 home runs in 1961. It's like, it's still a pretty good season, even if you didn't set the record.
It's like when you're in the fantasy league and you have the second highest total of the week by a wide margin, but you lost to the first highest total. But yes, I scored 6 points. I got 4 correct, including my 3-pointer. My 1-pointers, TreVeyon Henderson would outrush Mayan Williams by at least 25 yards, Tom, and he did that on his very first carry of 26 yards.
Somebody hatefully suggested on Twitter that a bold prediction that you get correct on literally the first play of the game should count double, which, sorry, can't hear you. You're blocked now, so.
But it is a very good suggestion, though. Like, it's good. Buckeyes would have 2 quarters where they averaged at least 10 yards per play. They did that in each of the first 2 quarters. It was like 10.7 in the first quarter, and then they upped it to like 11 in the second quarter. 220 hit, as I knew it would, and Tom didn't think it would, or else he would have tried to go for it himself. But he is, as we know, a hater. Then, of course, my 3-pointer, Ohio State would outscore Michigan's rushing total by at least 17 points. Ohio State scored 49 points, and Michigan State rushed for, 12 yards, whatever it was. It was emphatically enough. I definitely got the points there. So there you have it. 6-3, complete blowout. And Tom, now as the cot of shame on the trip to Penn State. Anyway, let's
Anyway, so now the Iowa show where we actually are determining who has the cot of shame for Penn State. Yes, go on.
Would I like to go first, or would you like to go first?
Well, typically the person who wins goes first, so I think we should let you go first at least this one time this season.
This is not my first win, by the way, this year. Here's mine, Tom. And again, these are so skewed because of what we're dealing with Iowa. But also, this is an Ohio State bold prediction as well. The Buckeyes failed to score in the red zone for the first time this year. They're 29 of 29 with 27 touchdowns. I'm saying they get to the red zone this year and don't score.
Yeah, I think that's a viable one and I think that there's a decent chance it happens because Iowa has done a pretty good job forcing turnovers this year, and at some point it's going to happen. And the Iowa defense is pretty efficient, and you're probably getting to the point where you're getting stopped and you're getting in third down situations and trying to kicking field goals and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think you have to allow this one, but also I think it's an entirely possible, entirely reasonable that this happens. All right, so yes, that is a good one. So here's my next one, and I went back to I'm just trying to get some sense for like what's the worst performance you've seen against Ohio State in the last few years. Since the start of the 2020 season, Ohio State has held only one Power 5 opponent under 200 yards of total offense for the game. That was Indiana last year when Indiana was on like their fourth string quarterback, and it was raining and miserable and crappy, and they couldn't do anything. So 200 yards of total offense, that's for a full game. I'm going to say they hold Iowa under 80 yards of total offense in the first half. So that would put them on pace for 160 yards, but you're probably getting more there, but under 80 yards of total offense in the first half.
And you have no way of telling me how many times they did that. It feels like they may have done that last week. Well, they certainly did it last week.
Yes, last week it was 0 yards for the whole game, which if we're holding, they might do that again this week. We'll see, but
I wonder if they did that against Michigan State, which would mean they've done it 2 weeks in a row, Tom. And then you're trying to get the squeeze on this one. Let me just take a look at the Michigan State box score to see really quickly if I can find how many yards they had in the first half as I scroll through here and talk myself through it. So they had 54 yards in the first quarter. And in the second quarter, they had 9 yards. No, 9 yards. So.
Wait, so they had 69 yards in the second quarter or 9 yards?
No, it's 63. Sorry. It's a small screen and I'm looking way over. So, okay. So they had like 100 and some. So 80 yards, it is a very small number. So I can't rightly or rightfully say no. So we will allow it. We're just trying to be friendly about this, but also there is a cot on the line and the Michigan's sheets, which Kevin promised he would wash. But that's kind of why I wanted to take him home, because I would make sure they were. But he's like, no, I got this. And now I think about it, Tom, probably not a smart move for you. But anyway, so 80 yards of total offense in the first half, and any 34-yard runs or passes do not count.
Yeah, you know what? You can exclude all 34, as many 34-yard plays as you want to, because All
right, you said it.
I think I will allow, if you would like to predict Iowa has a 34-yard play of any kind, I will absolutely allow you to take that one this week if you'd like to.
No. So my second one-pointer, maybe this is a two-pointer, but I'll just go with one. Zach Harrison and JT Tuimoloau each record their first sack of the year. Now, that may just be a half a sack, but they're both without a sack this year. I'm saying they will each notch at least some sort of name in the sack category. Iowa has given up some sacks this year, and Spencer Petras isn't the greatest guy getting away from it. But, they've faced quarterbacks that they should have sacked already this season and those two haven't. I'm saying they both get in there this week and finally get their first sacks of the season.
I think that's a good one. And if you would like to have them each have to have at least one full sack, I would give you 2 points for that, or I'll just allow you to have it for 1 point for just need to be on the stat sheet on the sack column in the sack column.
You know what? I might do that, but that would require some negotiating of my 2-pointer to ease up and make it a 1-pointer. So let me go to my 2-pointer, Tom. Let's see what you think. It's a 50-yard rush for TreVeyon Henderson. Now, if you want to make that a 30-yarder, that still feels like a lot for a 1-pointer.
How many games this year has TreVeyon Henderson, out of the games TreVeyon Henderson has played, how many of them has he had a 30-yard rush?
Let me give you that real quick. And I won't be able to give you how many games he's done it in. I'll just be able to give you how many he's had. I can tell you he didn't have one in the game he missed. So
it's good data. Thank you.
TreVeyon Henderson, he has 30-yard rushes. Actually, I think the reason I picked this is because he only has one. So no, he only has one 30-yard rush. So I'm saying if he has a 30-yard rush in this, that's a 1-pointer. I can tell you if you want to know how many 30-yard runs Iowa has given up, just so you have a baseline, and so the listeners have a baseline.
I feel like this is probably going to be a good run, 1-pointer. Now, of course, it's going to have to be 34 yards, just because. I mean, I don't make the rules, Tony, but I think that's. I mean, the listeners deserve it, first of all, but second of all,
I hate that.
Well, I don't hate the listeners. I love and respect the listeners. Now, I mean, I'm sure I know whose side the listeners are on right now. So 34 yards it is. It's done and done.
So just so you know, Iowa has given up 2 rushes of 30 yards or more this year. I feel like I should have gone with a 17-yarder. What about this, Tom? 2 17-yarders or a 34-yarder?
2 rushes of exactly 17 yards? Yes.
No, of at least 17 yards.
No, I'm sorry. 34 or more, or 2 rushes of exactly 17 yards.
All right. So what we have determined here is that Zach Harrison and JT Tuimoloau each have a 1 full sack. And as we know, all sack predictions on the bold prediction shows generally come true. This is a fact, as we know. And so then at least a 34-yard rush for TreVeyon Henderson for 1 point. Okay. All right.
My next one, and this is one where I set a number on it. This is basically half of what they're averaging per carry right now. Iowa runs for less than 1.5 yards per carry. So 1.5 yards per carry or less in the first half. Because I don't want this skewed by, something against the backups later, and Iowa gashes them for an explosive 6-yard run or something like that, and it throws the whole stat column off. But 1.5 yards or less per carry in the first half for Iowa.
The problem with that is you're basing that 1.5 off of the entire game. And so you don't want to incorporate that entire game because that makes the 1.5 less bold. So I would need at least the first 3 quarters, because this is going to be a tight game throughout the majority. And Ohio State's defense, the Ryan Day is going to be like, no, we're not ready to throw the backups out there. So I don't see. First of all, I don't see Iowa. I think this should be 1.5 for an entire game is very good. 1.5 through 3 quarters, I would accept. I can't do 1.5 through the first half because the third quarter they're going to be out there. That's going to be what, 2 drives maximum for Iowa, and the starters are still going to be out there.
I mean, I guess the question is how quickly is Ohio State going to score? And I think Iowa might get more than 2 possessions in the second half. So how about
in the third quarter? I'm saying
the third quarter. Yeah. Well, no, I think Iowa probably gets 3 possessions in the third quarter, right? Probably.
How about we eliminate that third possession?
Okay, so the first half and the first 2 possessions of the second half. Okay,
that's too much math, but let's do it. 1.5 yard per carry, the first half, and first 2. Okay.
The fun thing is now you're the one who's in charge of figuring this out. because you're the one up in the. Make sure you leave yourself a note that you after 2 Iowa possessions, you got to take a screenshot and stat broadcast, so we don't have to actually go back and do the math on this.
Yes, I often leave myself notes during the game that never actually, because the phone is buzzing constantly, and so I just ignore it because it's very annoying. So yes, I would never catch that one. But that's a good point. Maybe, Tom, you will also be watching the game. Why don't you send? But of course, I won't get that text until like 4 hours after the game because of the cell service there. So send it now.
Okay,
like send it at the start of the game, and maybe by the time I get it. Let's see. Do I want to go with my next 1-pointer, or would you like to try to throw out your 2-pointer since I've given my 2-pointer?
I can give my 2-pointer. My 2-pointer is Iowa finishes the first half with negative rushing yardage.
I have to allow that. Now,
frankly, I think there's a possibility that you'll want me to swap my 2 and 3-pointer, but we can get to that when we get to the 3-pointers. But that certainly is that. I think that's more of a question of, is that a 2-pointer bold versus a 3-pointer bold than is that sufficiently bold for a 2-pointer? I think that happens very infrequently, that you hold the team to negative rushing yardage and a half.
And I have a similar one for my 3-pointer, but it's dressed up more and it's more pleasing to the eye. All right, so yeah, I mean, anytime you're predicting negative something for an entire half, it's like, okay. But we're all predicting all kinds of like inability on the Iowa offense, so it's like if they have 6 yards rushing at the half, that would be very disappointing. Not for me. Now, my next 1-pointer, and this gets to the point where it's like I'm tired of looking for, easy wins or fixes or whatever Iowa's done. At some point, I just need to move on and come up with some plays and some players. CJ Stroud rushes for a touchdown.
Ooh, that's a good one. All right, I have to allow that.
Red zone is going to be difficult. I think if he's going to run for a touchdown at like the 3-yard line or inside the 5, it might be this game. So that's why I'm going with that one.
All right, here's my next one. Ohio State has 4 players who finish with 10 or more receiving yards more than Iowa's leading wide receiver.
Ooh.
Four players with 10 or more. So, if Iowa's leading wide receiver finishes with 47 yards receiving, I need 4 different Buckeyes to finish with 57 yards receiving. And here's the thing, Tony. The ball's going to get spread around a bunch, which means you might get it, but it also means the ball's going to get spread around a bunch. You might have a bunch of guys with 27 yards receiving.
I really hate this because that 27 yards receiving could also be Iowa's leading receiver. But, I mean, when you throw in numbers like 4 and 10, that's a lot. That's a lot of spinning plates here. I hate this one, but I also respect it. And this is the stupid Iowa offense, and it's super annoying that I am going to say yes to this one. And I wish what am I supposed to say? No. Well, what then what? Like 13 yards more? I don't know. I just don't like it. And so when it's one of these bold predictions that why don't you like it? I just don't. To me, I guess that means it's good enough. Like we both have these words like, I hate that you came up with this one.
Yeah, this is one where it's like, it sounds insanely bold. And then you look at it and it's like, it could happen. It's not super likely to happen. And there's a lot of different ways it doesn't happen. You get the one ball downfield where, the guy catches, you've seen Ohio State give up just like the one pass downfield against Lorenzo Styles against Notre Dame. Like, they didn't throw the ball downfield to wide receivers at all, but Lorenzo Styles had a 50-something yarder in that game. Like, you need the one play, and that completely blows this up immediately. But yeah, this feels like it's, I don't know, less than 20%, less than 15% to hit. There are ways that it hits, but it's, it's so easy to see it because it's like, well, yeah, there's a possibility Iowa's leading wide receiver finishes with 13 yards receiving. Like that's also legitimately a possibility. So,
well, and when you look at Iowa's leading receivers, Sam Laporta, 46 yards per game.
He's a tight end.
Well, Are you saying wide receiver?
I said I was leading wide receiver. Yes.
Oh, no, I don't like that at all. I honestly do not. I was counting Laporta and Lachey in there.
Oh, no. See, because one of them is going to have 70 yards. So if you want me to give you 3 Ohio State players finish with more receiving yards than Iowa's leading receiver, we could do that.
No, because Ohio State has 3 receivers averaging more than Iowa's leading receiver by 10 yards. I think you throw Julian Fleming in there and you throw Jackson Smith and Jigba coming back. Like, I don't think this one is going to work unless you because Iowa's wide receivers could combine for 6 catches for 6 yards in this game, and nobody would blink an eye. So Ohio State already has 3 receivers that are averaging, like Julian Fleming is 55.5 yards per game, which is 6 or 7 yards more per game than Sam Laporta. So we're going to need to revisit this one, Tom.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to pull this one back. I have done some extra work here. I've got some extra ones here. Let's try this one. Michigan held Iowa to 2 3-and-outs, and we're going to define this as 3 plays and then a punt. So if Iowa gets a pick, an interception and runs it back, and it's 3 plays and they kick a field goal, that doesn't count. If they go for it on 4th down, it doesn't count. It is the drive is 3 plays and then a punt. So Michigan held them to 2 3-and-outs. Rutgers held them to 3 3-and-outs. I say Ohio State's defense forces 5 3-and-outs.
Yeah, and I have no good stats for 3-and-outs, but 5 3-and-outs compared to what those two teams did. And anytime you're comparing Ohio State's defense to Rutgers' defense, I have to take notice. But I do appreciate that you went.
Michigan also is, yes.
I do appreciate that you went to 5. That's what makes that one work. So Ohio State forces 5 3-and-outs in the first half.
I didn't say the first half.
Is that correct, Tom?
Yeah, Iowa has 5 possessions in the first half. That's another potentially bold prediction. Yeah.
So my next one. I'm already feeling bad because I've already got one bold prediction featuring 2 players getting sacks. At least 2.5 tackles for loss for Mike Hall.
2.5 tackles for loss for Mike Hall. Now he did that the last game on 7 snaps, right?
Right, but that was against Michigan State.
Mm-hmm. As opposed to the offensive dynamo they're facing this weekend, which... Would you like to try again?
No, I will not. I can't go high. I can come up with something else. I'm not going to 3. That's just foolish.
Well, Tony, I mean, I will tell you that the YouTube, when I post this on YouTube, one of the things that I will have to certify is that I am not enabling dishonest behavior or hateful or derogatory content. And Tony, I want to actually be able to certify that, because if I allow you to just this guy did this in 7 snaps last game and he'll do it again this week in 30, Tony, I mean, come on, please. I think the listeners deserve better than that.
Tom, I promise you this is hateful content. I will put this one on hold. I'll come up with something on the fly. Here's one for you, Tom. See what you think of this one. 227.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much have to allow that. I think that's going to be difficult to do this week because I don't know that they're going to rush for that much, but
just wait. Sit back in 2 safeties. Just wait.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But 227 for Ohio State this week. Yeah, I have to allow it. I can't. I have no argument against it. So, yep. All right. So, have you done all 5 of yours now?
No, I still have a 1-pointer, and you've got 2 1-pointers left, right?
All right. So, let's see. How about this one? The worst offensive line in the nation in terms of pass pro is Kentucky. They are allowing sacks on 14% of dropbacks. Ohio State gets sacks on 15% of dropbacks on Saturday. So 1% worse than, more than the worst team in the country. And here's how we're going to define this. Sacks is the numerator, and then pass attempts plus sacks is the denominator. Because it's like trying to define it in terms of dropbacks, and then he drops backs and then he runs, and we're not going to be able to keep track of that on the stat sheet. But so Sacks divided by pass attempts plus sacks.
If it's close, I will go back and I will gladly see if you're right about this. But if it's like if you're over 15%, I will go back and look for scrambles, because if you force a scramble and he gets out, then that's a dropback and a failed sack. So if it comes to it, I will go back and watch. So I will allow this 15% of dropbacks and then sacks. But how many times is he dropping back? So what, 30 times, 35 times? So you're talking 4, 5, 6 sacks. I mean, they're giving up 3 a game. So, okay, we'll go ahead and allow this. Sacks. And I will have to do extensive film work afterwards to make sure that this is legitimate. So, okay.
This is the great thing where this is win-win for me, because either if it happens, either I win or you waste a ton of time going back and rewatching what should be a miserable slog of a game, or the best of both worlds, you do that and then I still win. So, I mean, this is really like win-win-win for me.
Although, will you believe me if I say 3 of those, like...
Oh, absolutely not.
To move it from like 15.8% to 14.9, they'd be like, well, there was 2 scrambles. I don't remember that. Hey, you were looking at your stupid camera, you photo monkey. Like you weren't even looking at the game, and you'll be like, well, that is true. I can't deny that probably happened at some point. So,
yes, that's probably not how that's going to happen. I will probably see. This is now I feel trapped. Like you're definitely going to do this, and you're definitely going to say that no, actually, and then I'm going to have to go back and watch, and this is just going to be this whole episode just descended into like prank wars, and it's like, oh, this is terrible. Can I remove that and come up with something that we can just pull straight from the stat sheet? No, all right, well,
it's paralysis by paralysis. My final 1-pointer that I have to come up with on the fly right now is that...
I have one. Would you like another second to think?
Yes, go.
This is this is one that should not be controversial at all. CJ Stroud puts up his lowest completion percentage of the season. So that would be under 59.1%.
Okay. We'll allow that. Let's see. 59.1%?
Yes, under 59.1. It was 59.1 against Rutgers, I think.
Good job. I was going to go with a CJ Stroud one, but I already have. He's already rushed for a touchdown because, as you say, he's not going to be able to throw the ball. How about this? An Ohio State cornerback breaks up a 50-50 ball. Huh?
What else you got? Sorry, Tony. I went back and watched the film. That really was more of like a 53-47 ball. Sorry.
Fair. How about this, Tom? Oh, okay. Ohio State corners combined for at least 3 pass breakups.
How many pass breakups have they been credited with in recent weeks?
Well, and pass breakups kind of they're let me see here. I will get that for you, Tom, and I can tell you actually who has. Let me bring up the MISC defense, and we will look at passes broken up. Denzel Burke has 4 in 5 games. Jair Brown has 2 in 5 games. Cameron Brown has 1 in 4 games. So those 3, that's 7 in 6 games. And then you scroll down looking for no other. There's no J.K. Johnson. So.
That's fine. Averaging a little more than 1. Yeah, I'll allow 3. That's fine. That's good. That's good. That's just helpful context. All right, and now you need to do a 3-pointer.
What was your 3-pointer?
Iowa has more plays of 2 yards or less than Ohio State has points.
I don't really like Ohio State, or Iowa has more plays of 2 yards or less than Ohio State has points. That's your 3-pointer?
Yes. So if Ohio State gets into the 40s, this is done already. No, I mean, because how many plays is Iowa going to have on offense? They're averaging like 55, 60?
Yeah, I would say I would expect like 50, 55, yeah.
50. So even if Ohio State completely locks down Iowa, they're not getting to 40 in this category. And that's if they completely lock them down. And they have so they have very few plays. 2 yards or less. So every crappy 3-yard gain that leads to them punting on 4th and 1 doesn't count here. 2 yards or less. And if I could make it like 1.5 or less, I would, but that's not something we can do on the stat sheet.
Yes, Tom, I am aware that a 3-yard play is more than 2 yards or less. So thank you for that condescending bit of information. I would see, this is one of those where I don't have enough information on how many 2-yard plays or less. And Tom, you probably had enough time to research this. You just chose not to because you don't want that information to be out there. The Tom Orr dossier.
I like that last week, it was perfectly okay for it to be, for a multi-point one to be, 3 scores totaling between 57 and 60 points. And now it's like, whoa. I'm going to need more information on this one, sir. Can you show me relevant historical data?
Well, let's go down to the courthouse. Let's pull some plats. Let's see what, I really like. It's an inventive statistic. It's an inventive prediction. But as you even alluded to at the start, you don't yourself think it's a 3-pointer.
Well, I will make this a 2-pointer if you would like to have the Iowa finishes the first half with negative rushing yardage be the 3-pointer. I'm happy to do that. There's a certain amount of subjectivity when it comes to the point totals here and which one is more bold and which one is less. But I will allow you to choose which one is which. That's fine.
No, I think negative yards rushing in the first half is a 2-pointer with this offense and the sacks that will come. So I'm just trying to think through how many points will Ohio State score? I'm thinking, 34. So even then, you're talking 35 of your 55 plays have to be 2 yards or less, which that may be below average for them. I don't know. And that's the problem, Tom.
What is the absolute floor of the number of points you could see Ohio State scoring? Is there a scenario where you see Ohio State scoring less than 31 points?
Yeah, like 26 points with field goals and red zone failures, that sort of thing. 59% completions, that sort of thing, where it equates to 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals or 4 field goals, something like that. So, yeah, 6 scoring drives, but 4 field goals and 26 points. Now you're talking half of Iowa's plays 2 yards or less, which is probably the norm for them. But and just to end the show or to give an ending to the show, I almost said I will allow this. No, I really don't like this one, Tom. But my logic for allowing the last one I didn't like is when you don't like something, it kind of has to stand if you don't have any real good reason. I just wish there was a hook that I could put on this. I would say okay, but if they end up with 34 plays, then you have to subtract 17 of those plays.
I mean, do you want to do Iowa plays of 2 yards or less minus 2.5 or something like that? So, they have to have 2.5 more plays of 2 yards or less.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, so at least we're talking at least 3.
That's fine. Well, I mean, 2.5 makes it sound more stupid, so therefore, in terms of the show, it fits better.
I don't even know how to write this down, but I know what it is. I'll figure out how to write it down after the show.
Here's what I have: Iowa has 2.5 plus more plays of 2 yards or less than Ohio State has points. 3 points. Listen, if you're not understanding that, I don't know how to explain it to you more clearly than that. I mean. I can try speaking slower. Would that help?
It won't. It's just because then it's harder to follow because is this a new sentence? Are you still talking about the old sentence? Was there a comma?
Did I hear a niner in there?
All right. So my 3-pointer, Tom, and again, I have no idea how you feel about this one. Any 34 plays for Iowa will total 17 yards exactly.
Oh, good. I'm so old. I can remember a time when we were looking for historical precedent when we were allowing a 3-pointer. Okay.
Well,
Any 34 plays will add up to 17 yards. That seems like that would be a 1-pointer, I think. Like that's just because there's going to be, you're going to have 50 plays. This is the reason that like scoring yardage one worked is because it's like you're going to have like 6 numbers to choose from. I was going to run 50 plays, and there's going to be a bunch of zeros and ones and minus ones and twos and whatever in there. So, that one, I'll tell you what, you want to I'll let you take the 3-pointer I just did, and I'll take that one. How about that?
This is mine.
Yes, yes,
see,
yes. Because it's not bold at all. That's the reason.
Well, we could talk about it, but this is guaranteeing that there will be at least 17 yards in losses throughout the game. So, and that you have to add up, like the numbers have to fit. Now, if you want me to remove all -3 yard plays, like or remove all 2-yard losses, like I can do one of those, like remove a single, like anything of -1, like, or anything of -6, like I can do that, but I have no other 3-pointer to draw on, Tom. So I need something with this.
How about we let you repurpose mine from earlier about Ohio State with X number of players who finish with so many more yards than Iowa's leading receiver? How about for 3 points? This is going to have to be substantially more bold. Ohio State has 4 players who finish with 34 more yards than Iowa's leading receiver in the game. 4 players with 34
How many players? 4 players?
4 players with 34 more yards, receiving yards. Now that's going to be, this is a little contingent. Like there's a way this hits if Iowa's leading receiver has 37 yards, which is possible. It doesn't, you need 4 guys with, 70. That's not outrageous because you're going to have Jackson Smith-Njigba in the mix here too. I frankly, again, let me throw this out there. You want my 3-pointer? I'll take this 3-pointer. I think this is less bold than my 3-pointer.
No. And the thing is, like, we have to recognize 3-pointers need to be bolder than others. So yours, I would say, because you say any 3 Ohio State players have 34 more. No, I'm just saying, like, if you say 3 have 34 more yards than Iowa, that they should. That's like that's your 3 starters or whatever. So I will go ahead and, in the interest of not dragging this out any further, and I don't think we're going to be able to work on this 34 plays of 17 yards, even though 34 and 17 is canon, and the time is going against canon, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and say any 4. Now, again, are we talking wide receivers or just receivers in general? Buckeyes, any 4 Buckeyes.
4 players who finish with 34 plus more receiving yards than Iowa's leading receiver. Not wide receiver, receiver.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that one. I will lock that in as my 3-pointer.
When I lose because I gave you a good 3-pointer, I'm going to be very annoyed.
I already had a good 3-pointer. You gave me a worse one.
Yours was terrible. First of all, like the amount of calculation that you would have to do on that is ridiculous. And second of all, it's extremely likely to hit, so it's not a 3-pointer.
So, all right then. Looks like we have some, I don't want to say contentment, because neither of us are content with any of this, but we're finished. So that is a plus.
Cross it off the list. On to the next one.
So what I will do, I'll go ahead and at some point throw this up on the Buckeye Huddle message board and invite all of the posters there to throw in their own bold predictions. I will ask them to, hey, maybe get some right this time, and we'll see if they do. I promise you, it is not as easy as we make it look. That is clear, but it shouldn't be as difficult as it has been for some people. I'm just going to say that. Now, of course, as people throw in their 5 1-pointers, their 1 2-pointer, and their 1 3-pointer, I'm only picking like one of each level. So yeah, it would probably be more difficult, Tom, to get something right if we're only taking one of each of our 1-pointers. So due respect there. But, I mean, come on. Anyway, enough chastising the listeners and the viewers and the posters. I'm just still thinking back to the show we did yesterday where we did a lot of chastising of the Ferenc clan. So it's time I'm trying to be done with that. Like, wash it all off of me and just be happy again and at peace. Anyway, Tom, I'm assuming you have nothing left to say.
Nope, let's get out of here.
Very well said, Tom. That will do it for this episode. As always, please check us out at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Become a member. See us there. Check us out on the message board. Find us at YouTube at youtube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. And that will do it for today. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys later.